Foodies, welcome back to another episode of the Culinary Trapping Soundbites podcast. Jeremy, what's up, man?
What's good, man? We back.
Yes, sir. Back with another episode. We have Djassi DaCosta Johnson. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's
Lovely
great.
to be here with you all.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Dallas has been kind of rough. I'm out here in Dallas. It's been like a snow blizzard storm going on for the past 2 days.
So I know, everywhere. It feels like it's been snowing in Chicago and New York, where my family are like there for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sending as much sun and warmth to you all as possible from St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Wow.
Whoa, time out. What? We need it.
In the Virgin Islands?
Yeah, that's wild.
So, yeah, I know how you all found me through the exhibition, but I'm actually a professor. So
okay, yeah. So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm currently an assistant professor of dance, birthing the first dance Bachelor of Fine Arts program at the University of the Virgin Islands in St. Croix.
Okay.
So I am, as you know, I'm a dancer and a filmmaker and a photographer and a doula and a writer. And that's how you found me from the exhibit with National Museum of Women in the Arts in DC, which is really exciting because I have 2 exhibitions up right now, one there and then another in Switzerland in collaboration with another multimedia artist, Autumn Night. So yes, I do a lot of things, but I'm grateful that this time I could be here building a dance program rather than anywhere else.
That's huge. And you're building it from the ground up there, huh?
From the ground up, yes, literally. Like the dance studio, I'm like going to see the progress on the studio, make sure the floor is right. It's not built yet. It's really just a baby. It's exciting.
That's live. Okay.
Sounds awesome.
How I found out about you was, a mentor of mine sent over a link of the Reclamation exhibit, and it was like an interactive digital exhibit showcasing different rituals and things that people have in the kitchen, cooking processes and things of what they would cook in the kitchen. Now, this is really dope. And so, how was your experience with that?
It was amazing. I was so honored to be invited by the curator, Milani Douglas, because it wasn't, Reclamation wasn't just about food. It was about the spiritual healing energy around food and sharing recipes, sharing generational recipes, or sharing holistic recipes, or thinking about food as a healing aspect before the flavor, the recipe. And that's kind of how I live and how I cook. And I work a lot with herbs. And I've been doing a lot of work with that recently. And so I was really grateful that that reflected in my work, and I was asked to join this great exhibition. Yeah.
And one of the things that you had on there was the this magical pea flower tea.
Yeah, butterfly pea flower tea.
Okay, butterfly pea flower tea. And it was like, when I looked at the picture, it was like glowing. I was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah, my daughter, children also, my daughter helped me really delve more into my interest in herbs and healing, easy healing things from the earth that we have a disconnect from. As a doula, I want to be able to offer these kinds of things to my friends and mothers that I work with. But I found this tea because I was looking at the properties. It has amazing healing properties, antioxidants, and it's blue. And then depending on your ratio of lemon or what kind of sweetener you put in it, you can change color. So my daughter is a potion maker from a baby. She was always asking for food coloring. So I started looking for natural things, and that's how the butterfly pea flower craze happened. And yes, it had to be part of the exhibition because she's a part of that process with me. I teach her things in the kitchen, and she loves that tea.
So, what's one of your favorite things you ever taught her in the kitchen?
How to make dyes out of herbs and stuff. So I've been doing hydroponic. Yeah. So before I came here in January I was teaching virtually through the pandemic. We had a lot more time to work with natural things at home. So I regrew all of my like leeks and lettuce and romaine in a hydroponic garden on my windowsill. And then we would take like do dyes. So we did a green with basil, purple with cabbage, turmeric, yellow. So then this way I know she can make potions in the kitchen safely. And there's no like FDC number 5 or anything in it.
Artificial flavor.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool making dyes at home though. That's really cool.
Yeah, and she's a potion maker, so we do a lot of, anything that I'm making that requires mixing things. Like I do a lot of sauces with nuts, and she'll cream the nut and then put all the seasonings in. And she's actually a very good salad maker.
Okay. So how did you get into that? Like growing up into the health and wellness, was you like raised to think like this?
My parents definitely raised us, I would say, healthier than most. I mean, I don't remember, they never took us to like a fast food place, McDonald's. We didn't eat out. Everything was like whole wheat bread, but there was meat in my house. And I remember at the age of like 11 and 12, just rejecting the smell of, meat in the kitchen and not liking things. And I went to boarding school. And in my boarding school in Northfield, Massachusetts, you have to have a work job 45 minutes a day or 4 hours on the weekend. And the first semester I worked in the kitchen, and the second semester I worked in the farm, and then I was a vegetarian.
Okay.
So I became a vegetarian because I, to see the process of the food and then see the animals. And then I started doing research, and I was like, oh, this is all wrong. We're doing it wrong. And so it had a lot to do with the treatment of animals for me. It had a lot to do with what I was putting in my body and why. And so I was a vegetarian from 13 until I was 28. And I was touring with a company in Germany when I was around 27 or 28. And I fainted for the first time in my life. And I went to an osteopath the next day, and he told me my blood type, I'm O negative. And so he said if I wanted to have babies and have bones when I was older, that I should try to incorporate a little animal protein. And so then I went on a search in terms of what is right for me. So I'm not vegan. I call myself plant-based.
Okay.
And yes, so when I crave protein, it's generally of the sea. It's generally fish-based. But if I do have meat every once in a while, like when I got pregnant, I was like, where's the grass-fed beef? I need meat. So it's just red meat. I don't need any white meat. So it's just really what my body calls for, I listen to. But every plate has something dark green on it, because that's just what I crave, some dark greens.
Okay, cool. All right, and being a doula, what is a doula? So
the doula, a lot of people think the doula is like an assistant to the midwife, and you're actually not. The doula is there to help make the birthing process before, during, and after as pleasant and positive as can be for the mother, the partner, and the child. So really the doula, it became even more used in these, cities that we live in, and urban societies. People don't have their mothers, their aunties, their support network to help them and tell them how to hold the baby, how to nurse the baby, all of that. And I'm a big sister. My siblings are 8 and 10 years younger than me. I always had kind of like a motherly thing, apparently. But I was asked by a best friend of mine to be her doula when I was living in Brazil. That was 17 years ago. And I, said, okay, what's a doula? I bought some books. I asked, around, and in my community, there was midwives that I talked to and started to learn with, that I grew up with. Nankule Kutayahemba in Harlem, my mother's friends, and just I had a lot of help understanding how organic it was for me. And so I have worked with women in live births. I've worked with them for prepartum, setting up sustainable options. I'm a cloth diaper. I'm an extended breastfeeder. I advocate, please, breastfeeding after 6 months until a year, even till they teeth. It'll make your life easier. Like I talk a lot about that even before I had a child. And so it's been really beautiful now that I have a child and have actual firsthand information to share with people to extend that into everything else I do. So yeah, I do a lot of postpartum and extended breastfeeding now, since I can't always do live births.
Okay, so say for some advice that you would give to a woman that's pregnant and also after she has the baby, what type of diet would you advise somebody in that position to be on?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the person, but I think plant-based is really important. So even the last woman that I had the fortune to be a doula for, Grace, beautiful Grace, and her daughter, Mirai, she's from Zimbabwe, and she allowed me to come into her kitchen and just change her whole refrigerator. I was like, Gatorade, no! I was like, what is that? Preservative, no! And I taught her how to make her own electrolytes. And, you know, she had a cousin there who would come and watch me in the kitchen when I made stews. And I was like, look, this is a vegan stew. It's all veggies. Now you go and you fry your lamb and throw it in one day and put in your fish one day and do whatever. But if you have this base in the fridge, you always have something healthy, because as soon as you become a mother, it's overwhelming. And that's part of what a doula is. I leave a lot of my clients with lasagnas and stews, veggie stews, so that they have something frozen in their fridge, because a lot of what the work of a doula is nurturing and nourishing. So I try to encourage women to shift their diets. If they allow me to do what Grace did, I will do it. I will rehaul their whole refrigerator, and try to help them just understand how to go for the craving first. And usually your body is craving vitamins, and the vitamins are most easily accessible through greens and fresh veggies. And then once you get that, you can go for, okay, what do I want to taste? What do I want to feel? But if you stuff your body with all the meats and the fats and the breads and whatever to fill your stomach without really savoring each taste, you know, you lose the preciousness of food, the delicacy of it, and you feel clogged up. And the last thing a pregnant woman wants is to not feel her body. Like, you want to be in your body. And that's not to say anything. I'm a dancer. And people were really surprised. I gained 65 pounds when I was pregnant. I ate a lot because I like eating. But for me, it was really important to eat really clean. And within 3 weeks of breastfeeding, I was like, I didn't do anything. I sat and I breastfed, and then the weight was off. So yeah, eat more with the earth. And I think instinctually we'll all find what our diet is. But I always try to clear out any preservatives right away, especially if they choose to breastfeed.
Mm-hmm.
Because that sets up the baby's immunity for life. So like if the baby has a sniffle, you can tell this to all your, you know, this is just between us. But if the baby has a sniffle and the mom gets a little of the boogers and then breastfeeds them, you're creating an immunity for the baby for that cold. So you're already doing it faster. So then when the baby gets that breast milk, it's almost like, you know, cold medicine. So it's good to get whatever cold your baby gets so that you can then give them your immunity, stuff like that.
Okay.
Makes sense. Holistic healing, as you have brought up before. It all seems like a very interesting concept. It's just so weird. I know you had brought up early in the discussion about the disconnect. Where do you think the disconnect came from? Do you think it all stemmed from just people moving into these urban settings, or do you think it's more of like a capitalistic type of thing?
All of it. Yeah, I think it's all of it. I think it happens because we're not living intergenerationally anymore, which in most traditional societies, you know, we had some kind of intergenerationality. And then it does have to do with capitalism, because when my grandmother's generation was having babies, they decided that it was a good thing to make something called formula. And they started to make women feel embarrassed about breastfeeding. And that had nothing to do with the health of the child. It had to do with an opportunistic capitalist moment and over policing women's bodies. So not allowing women to feel comfortable in a natural state about their body because, ooh, the breasts, they're only sexual. You know, men came to the game after the babies came to the game. Breasts are always for food. You know, and I think that's where that disconnect came in, because then the women, you know, people don't feel supported, so they don't know what to do. So they just say, okay, I just want my baby to live. So yeah, give me that bottle full of chemicals. Or, okay, I'll just lie down and labor for 20 hours in a really uncomfortable position, and because they told me that this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm not allowed to get up. So I think the agency that families and, you know, intergenerational exchange of information gave women, empowered them back in the day to have more natural births, eat more naturally, and not feel unsupported. And I think that's why doulas are so important right now, because women need to feel supported in that magical, like the most important miracle that we have on this physical planet, which is birth.
Great insight. Great insight.
Absolutely.
I love talking about birthing because I usually talk a lot about my dance and my choreography and my vision as a filmmaker. And I really do think that connection to other women and to that process and to the earth has emboldened my work and made me understand like why I'm an artist as well. So
okay.
Yeah, thank you guys for asking.
So when it comes to rituals, do you have like certain rituals that you kind of always do, like when it comes to the kitchen, like in the kitchen space?
I like that you said that. Yeah, it's really interesting you said that. I have I have two older adopted children who I met when they were young dancing. And so they're both professional dancers. And one came here with me now, and she hasn't been around me in a while in the kitchen, maybe 2 years. And she's just like, oh, so I have to have a clean kitchen, and I have wooden bowls and different bowls that can see my ingredients in. My refrigerator, the top of my refrigerator are all my greens. I got so tired of I grew up with everybody puts the veggies on the bottom, and I understand for the, cold distribution, but I just keep my fridge low. I want to see my veggies first, and the veggies come out first. And I wash as I go. For me, having a good vibe and a good music and washing as I go allows me to go through each stage of cooking in a different way. I have a friend here in the Caribbean that I was cooking for, a friend of a friend. And I said I was going to make her this soup, and I was so excited, and I'm singing in the kitchen, and I did my first step, and I'm ready to blend. I'm doing my second step. It was like 40 minutes in. And she comes in, she's like, "What are you doing pretending to cook here? How long this gonna take now?" And I was like, oh. And she was like, "You're pretending to cook," because it is really an elaborate thing for me. I'm not like a throw it in the microwave 10-minute type chick, It is very much a bit ritualistic itself, and I like to have all my herbs and things out, and my mortar and pestle. I make all my own sauces and things like that. Yeah.
So would you say cooking is almost like therapeutic for you? Or
yes, not even just therapeutic, but it's become spiritual and healing. Yes.
Ooh.
I love to infuse rose petals into my food, or if I'm feeling a certain kind of way, if I have if I'm gonna make you if you come over and you want a chai tea, I'll just be like, "Are you allergic to anything?" Because I might put some powders in there, some ceremonial cacao. It's just a regular afternoon drink. But I think we have so many, for my daughter also, I'm as a mom, some moms are like, "I want my kid to sleep. I want my kid to calm down." I'm like, I have the bombest chamomile, lavender, blueberry, flower PT that it's like, "Here, you want some tea? Drink this." And it's like, or it's sip, you chill down, and it's like, we have all of these wonderful things that we could just pick from the earth and throw in some water and drink. And that in itself is a ritual. So yes, I get very excited about teas. I keep a reishi mushroom and chaga mushroom and ginger tea in my fridge as a kind of general iced tea with a little lemon. It has great antioxidants, great immune boosting things, by the way, for this time. And things like that I drink because, I'm also a human being, and I have a wonderful village, but I'm generally a single mom. And so I say I have some vices, and one of them is wine. And so I balance it out the next morning, and I drink like a jug of reishi, and I'm good because you're detoxing. So for me, that's the balance, right?
Oh, how we deal with start doing that.
Yeah, I'll send you the recipe. How you deal with the physical world, right? And our physical needs as mortal human beings, apparently. But then also, how do you lift your spirit and just feel good? And because like you said, that tea, looking at it, made you excited. Wait till you drink it. You're like, it's like so good. And that's what I like about it. I guess that's the sacred aspect of it. Pleasure.
That's what's up. I really like that, especially the balance aspect of it. You enjoy the wine, but then the next day you kind of get back to it,
Yeah, cleanse, not that wine's not good for you. It's good for your heart. It's good for circulation. But, whatever the balance is, maybe you went to your buddy's barbecue and ate too many ribs the night before. Reishi making for your digestion. Or you are stressed out and you have insomnia. this tea is good for sleep, for relaxation. I give it to my daughter. So those are the kind of things that I think make my like attitude in the kitchen spiritual or ritualistic. Because it's not just like, yum, it tastes good. I'm like, what else can it do for me?
So like for the whole body, physical, spiritual.
Yes, mentally. Holy. Yes, that's
holistic health.
Holy.
That's pretty cool though. But so like as far as teas, like what's like your favorite tea? Like say if I'm like feeling down, my energy is low and I need something like pick me up type of thing.
Guayasa is there's a tea, it's called guayasa. It's a like an Amazon root, or I guess it's a flower, and it's like a natural, like it has a little caffeine in it, like in terms of the natural caffeine, but it's not going to give you a down, but it also is kind of, it gives you like a euphoria because where it comes from in the Amazon in its natural form, like used in consistency, I think it's a ritual. It's something that's used in rituals. So in its natural tea form, it's a really nice pick-me-up tea. I do believe that I love reishi and chaga, how it keeps me feeling during the day. And in terms of like if you were trying to like get off a coffee or something like that, I would suggest incorporating ceremonial cacao and chai, black teas, and cinnamon into your
chai, ceremonial. You say Djassi? How you spell that?
Djassi. We'll do it. I'll send you some notes in the email afterwards.
Okay,
but definitely.
Yeah. I need that. I definitely need that. Because I think tea is definitely, I always feel better when I drink tea too. I try to do that like whenever I go to work. Because I see the difference, like especially, don't get me wrong, shout out to all the coffee makers out there. Wink, wink. But I do love tea more than coffee because you don't get that down effect afterwards. You're kind of just like, now you have energy and you're just, I'm just cruising through the day. Coffee just like,
And then you need like another one. And then you need another coffee.
Yeah, and it's like addicting. But tea is like, this is cool. Like I'm relaxed, but I'm here.
I think definitely you need the ceremonial cacao mixture that I used to take in my second year of grad school when I was in spiritual warfare.
Oh, gotcha.
I had a mug and I'd be like, every day I'd walk in and I'd be like,
I got this.
Exactly.
Everything's fine. I got this.
Because it really, as opposed to coffee where it makes you jittery, it gives you energy, but it like settles you. It's beautiful. You'll love it. I'll send you my recipe.
Oh, good. And as far as, what about foods?
For what?
Let's say, okay, here's a good one. Like, what's one of your favorite celebratory foods? Like when you accomplish something and it's something you kind of only eat like when you do like a big accomplishment. I think we all have one. I know for me personally, it's meat, so I'm not going to talk about it.
What's yours?
What's yours?
Meat's not bad. What's yours?
I think mine, I'm very, I feel like I don't want to call myself basic, but I am. So like whenever like I want to celebrate, it's definitely king crab legs now.
Oh
like,
wow, that's cool.
my go-to. Because I mean the regular ones I can do that occasionally, but like the king crab legs, that's like my go-to. Like
almost the lobster.
Yeah, and it's just so like it's like all out here.
Makes you happy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like and you take it out, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm about to eat this. So.
Okay, so now you remind me. So I was like, I don't know. I like so many things. I don't know. But so it's funny you said, something about coffee drinkers. Like I used to drink coffee because I lived in Brazil and then I live in Italy and I like coffee, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I can't drink it unless I'm in those places now. So I think my eating definitely peaked in Italy and I got a little more honest with myself about food and pleasure. And so, yes, celebratory dinner for me would be oysters.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Raw?
And then, I'm not done. I'm not done.
All right.
I'm not done. We have courses. That would be oysters.
It gotta be raw.
Okay.
It's gotta be raw.
Yes, of course. Raw
This ain't fried, buddy. Come on now. Raw oysters only. Look.
Just making sure. Just making sure.
Okay. So raw oysters to start. And then I love carpaccio of like it's of a white, it's a maybe like a mackerel. Yes, it's like a smoked mackerel they do in Italy, like this white carpaccio, and it's like thinly sliced, fish. So think sushi, but not, because it's thinly sliced, and then it's like drizzled with lemon and truffle oil, and there's pieces of arugula on the plate just for color. Yes, I see you feeling it. Okay, but then
I can see it.
Then the main plate for me, my favorite main plate to go to, is called spaghetti con vongole, and it's just spaghetti and clam, white clam sauce, the medium-sized clams. And it's really simple, and it's like garlic, white wine, cilantro, bay parsley. Like that's my recipe, and it's just like
sounds good.
Juice that happens with the clams and the wine. And it's just like 5 things, and it's delicious. So that would be a celebratory meal with like a Prosecco to start, then a Sauvignon or a Sancerre, and then I'm good.
Ooh, that sounds amazing, especially with the garlic to tie it all in. I don't know. I'm a big fan of garlic now.
I just roasted some last night on the grill.
See,
have you done that?
I have not. Oh, have I? No, I haven't done that yet.
Roast them on a grill, and then you can just scoop it out and like spread it on bread with, oh my gosh, it's so good. You can put it on anything, and it's just like a spread. It just turns into a paste. You open it, crack it. Yeah, keep them in the shell, don't unpeel them, and just put that on the grill. And then when you take the little burnt shell off, it's just like garlic honey.
Oh yeah, I need that. I definitely need that, because I used to be an onion type of person. I still do like onions. I think it adds a lot to food, but garlic.
You do caramelized onions?
Oh, all the time.
You keep them in your fridge?
I used to.
Okay. All right, I like you. I keep a mason jar in my fridge.
See, because they're just I can just eat them like by themselves. It's like one of those foods
throw
like
them over
that.
some rice, just rice and that.
Yep, that's really all you need. Facts. What about you, Cam? What's your celebratory?
Yeah, Cam.
Well, celebratory. I gotta go to. It would be from Papa Do's, the Papa Do's Mardi Gras pasta. I love it. That's like my favorite dish.
Is that like what comes in it? Place? What is that?
So it comes with grilled jumbo shrimp. Also the linguine pasta.
Yeah.
Linguine, yes.
So the sauce that they have is really good. It's like their special sauce that they have from Papa Do's. Also, sometimes it comes with sausage. Sometimes depending on how I'm feeling, I'm gonna have the sausage in there or not.
That's so like gumbo. Throw it all in.
Right, but it's real good.
The pig, the fish, the cow too.
We need it all.
I love New Orleans, and I've always aspired to eat gumbo, but I go.
You gotta try it, especially like you can just get the seafood joint, because I know usually like during the holidays, that's kind of like our Christmas meal. Is like we'll do Christmas Eve meal, or one of those two. I always forget. But we would do a big old pot of gumbo. Like I'm talking about just like
seafood,
huge pots. Well,
yeah, they always throw a little sausage in there.
I mean, if you come by, we'll throw you a little pot to the side.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you based in New Orleans?
No, my family's from Louisiana, like Baton Rouge.
Amazing, because that's the only other city that I always said that I could live in the mainland United States outside of New York. I was like, I could do New Orleans. That is my city. I love it. I love it.
It's so soulful. You can feel it while you're walking in the streets.
So cultural.
Literally. I was very, very lucky to work there. The last couple of times I was there, several times, and then it's got so much history in the streets. Beautiful.
Wow. So Djassi, we know now that you're international. Okay.
Right.
So you got the mainland, and then you got international, like you said. What are some things that you kind of picked up throughout your lifetime when it comes to like food, and just what differences have you just seen, and some things that you picked up that you kind of added to your own thing that you would do?
Yeah. Well, I learned how to stew in Brazil. I learned like how to really stew. And at the time I wasn't even really eating chicken, I don't think, but I learned from this woman I was living with. And so she would do these amazing stews with like cilantro. So I fell in love with cilantro and just put in like a root vegetable here and a this and that. So stews are huge for me. And then I feel like I had a whole culinary epiphany in Italy, because I learned about seasonal eating. and I learned about being with the land.
There you go.
So when things are in season,
we missing out, bro. In America,
we
be eating strawberries year round.
Thank you. Oh my god! I was just gonna wait. You're psychic. You're psychic because that's the story I was gonna tell. I walked in. I'm working in Milan for the first time. I mean, I was touring in Italy for years, but then I moved there for this show, and I stayed. And I think I was in Milan, and I was with my host or some friend or, two Italians, and we were shopping, and I was like, ooh, strawberries. And they were like, stupid American, They were like laughing at me, and I was like, what? And I was getting frustrated because I'm a Virgo, and I was like, I really have a feeling for something, and I need it particularly right now. So they were like, no. They were like, it's out of season. And then I started to pay attention more, and I remember working in Sicily soon afterwards, and just having my favorite thing is, as a vegetarian when I was traveling the world, was grilled vegetables in Italy. They were like meat. They're like meat. Then I got to Sicily and I was like, I already love grilled vegetables, but this eggplant, you can't tell me this is just eggplant. Did you just put some bacon juice on it? What did you do? And they're like, no, it's just olive oil and salt in the grill. And then the old man comes out from the kitchen. He starts to talk to me. And this was the epiphany. He starts to talk to me about, you don't understand. It's the soil. Don't you know where you are? This is not Italia. This is Sicilia. We have a little Africa. We have a little this. It's the soil is so rich from Africa, and the food, it feels like the meat. And I was like, okay. All right. And I tell you the truth of it, the pride of the Sicilians with the vicinity to North Africa and the way that their food is reflected is huge. And you won't hear about that on this side, and definitely not from their generational immigrant children. But living there gave me a better understanding of why it was so important to eat seasonally and why it was important to understand the land. And two, an awareness that there's an African thread in all the cuisines that we experience around the world.
What? Say what?
Yo, before boats, we moved around everywhere, and our traces are in everything. So that was one of the things that I get excited about when I travel.
The roots are in Africa for almost everything, food, like almost everything, culturally, fashion, whatever you want, art, it all traces back to Africa. I don't know why people be forgetting that. They be trying to erase it, but
there's a beautiful exhibit that was supposed to be up in 2021, and I know about it at the Museum of Food. What do you know this museum? It's amazing. It's in Queen. Museum of Food and Design. I'm gonna find it and send you all the link. But there's a beautiful exhibit. I went with the Literary Society of Harlem with Lana Turner, and they are doing an exhibit that's not about African American food. It's about the influence of African Americans on American food. And it's just unearthing how much influence our culinary history, trends, and things that we brought generationally, and seeds that, the secrets and the seeds that the women sewed into their hair before we got on the boats, all those things affected why America eats the way it eats now. And it's in a museum, and it was genius to see it. So I really want to be able to pass that to you all, because I think it's related to what you're interested in. And I think it might be virtual now, because that was something that really impressed me, especially when you travel and compare places like Brazil. Then I did my thesis 4 years ago in Cuba. And you start to eat the food there, and you're like, I landed in Trinidad, and I'm eating something, and I'm feeling like I'm in Brazil, and I'm like, I have to go to the map, and I'm like, oh my God, we're so close. It's literally that close. The little water between Trinidad and Brazil. And I realized it because of the food and the smell.
Yeah. It's so different yet so similar.
So close. Yeah. And that's who we are as Africans, as Pan-African people. That's my, I feel like we forget it, that whole, I don't use the term African-American. In general, I just say black is black is black. But I think there's an awareness of Pan-Africanism and nationalism and our interconnectedness rebirthing. And it's good to remind, that there's something in it, in the food, that we have to reclaim. Because I've always rejected Southern food. It's too heavy for me. I've always rejected certain plates because I couldn't find you know, for me. But then I understand the pride in it. So there's something that there's still there. Like, I love collard greens, but I want to taste the collard green part, the green part. Like, don't kill the green part.
Don't kill the green.
We want bacon with a side of our collard greens.
You're like, have some bacon with some green sludge that we cooked for 7 hours.
There you go.
I want the green. Bring back the green.
That's what I'm talking about. Bacon with the collard greens.
All right, well, I'll come over for the seafood gumbo, but we're not talking about the collard greens.
I can't help you on that one. That's only gonna be one part of that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that answered your question, but definitely the food, the land, and the African thread is something that
you definitely.
taken away.
So, I just went blank. But yeah, whatchamacallit?
You just talking.
Whatchamacallit?
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue, man.
So look here. This is my water bottle. That's a smoky quartz.
Wait, what? Oh, you got a whole. So what's that supposed to do?
A whole crystal. Well, smoky quartz has a number of different properties. I like it for its grounding properties and connection to earth and heaven and a number of other things. I can't tell you all my secrets, but the point is,
we listening too.
Everything is nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything is nourishment.
So Italy is definitely on my list when going international. So
yes.
I'm glad you pointed out that insight. So that just has me thinking about, what I'm going to eat there.
Yeah, and make sure, you get in touch, because the food in the north, if you land in Milan, you're going to be upset. You got to get to middle Italy. You got to go down south, go to Rome and Naples. Pizza in Naples. I love Rome, but the pizza in Naples is to blow your mind. Rome, I love the Roman food because that's where I lived for 7 years. And then you go to Sicily and it's a whole other story because they don't really consider Sicily part of Italy. It's like a whole other place. So I hope you get to do that trip.
Stay on vibe down there, basically.
Yeah, you just go eat, get on a train, go down, eat, get on a train, go down, eat, just keep going. Then you just have to jump on a boat for Sicily, but that's fine. You can eat on the boat. Always have food. They have food everywhere. There's food everywhere.
That sounds like my kind of place to be then. Food and wine.
Yep.
So when it comes to dance, what ties to like Africa do you really see?
Well, I teach a course here. Well, it's going to be a course, but currently it's a workshop called The Roots of Modern Dance, which are focused on the African and indigenous roots of postmodern dance. So a lot of the postmodern dance techniques that influence modern companies that are really popular, like Alvin Ailey and Philadelphia, and a lot of the American modern dance companies are steeped in postmodern techniques that use a lot of studies and fascination with African and indigenous cultures to make their vocabulary and set up their codified technique. So, for example, I teach a technique called Horton. It's an anatomical technique that was based in his studies of Egyptology and indigenous studies. And then Martha Graham, as well took from African and indigenous people. So that is always something I'm interested in theoretically. But I mean, just on a fast-paced way, my undergrad degree is in anthropology. So my first time in Brazil was to stay for a month, and I lived with and assisted a priestess of Candomblé. And Candomblé is the African syncretic religion of, that came from West Africa and then was mixed with Catholicism. And in some places it's voodoo or Santeria or this or that. And I was able to learn dances with her for each Orisha and then learn how to prepare the ceremonial meals. So that was just for my undergraduate thesis. Okay. Then as, I began to, work more on the city, I think what's really important to continue to reiterate is that our perception of dance and even ballet would be very, very, very different without Black people and African influence. So aside from the obvious, tap and hip hop and Lindy hop, which then turned to swing that white people love to do with their bobby socks. Okay, all of that comes out of the cultures that we created based on jazz, based on African rhythms, based on classical, mixed with African rhythms. Because, you know, we're the most creative people in the world. You give us something and we'll just flip it upside down and make it better. And that's what we did with Catholicism and Christianity and classical music and the waltz. You know, we flipped it all around, made it better. And that's my perception in terms of, in general, the influence of Africans on dance, whether it's popular dance, social dance, or train dance, because you can go, yeah.
Are there any like routines when it comes to like before somebody eats, like in African culture?
You mean like a ritual dance? That's a good question. I don't know. I would think it depends. The only place I've been on the continent is Egypt. I lived there for 4 months when I was 17, and then I went back at 30. But in terms of the rituals around
like a
eating,
luau, isn't that like?
Oh no, that's I don't know. What I know is that in Yoruba-based ceremonies around the diaspora, the ritual aspect of it, if anything is sacrifice, then you prepare the meat and you share it and you eat it. Nothing is wasted. Mm-hmm. So spirit and ritual and anything for a spiritual purpose is then going to nourish your actual physical body. So that's what I would say related to the spirit of if there's dance around it. Yes, people have been dancing in ritual for hours with that food, you know, and then it went through transition for that offering, and then you prepare it in a certain way, and then you all eat it together. That is part of it. You know, these things go on, you eat until the morning. It's like 6 a.m. That witnessing that in Brazil definitely affected, you know, my awareness of spirit, dance, and food. Yeah.
So I have a question. It's not really related to dance or food, but just like something popped in my head. So why do you think, like, even just in this discussion we had just now, whenever like we discuss Africa, it's one of the one places in the world we always discuss it like as a continent compared to like anywhere else. It's like when you say like, what about Chinese or Japanese, or let's say Italian, French, Brazilian, but when it comes to Africa, it's never like Ethiopian or Ghanaian or whatever the case is, always like Africa, like as a whole continent compared to everywhere else in the world. It's just like you refer to as a country. You got any insight on that? I'm just curious to what you think about that.
The lack of specificity of African culture is because it was overwhelming for, you know, the white Europeans that colonized and named it to realize how huge it is and how many different countries and people and cultures and sounds and smells. And I think it just, you know, for control purposes, they simplify it. Because if you have, you know, no specificity and you're just, oh, that's a herd of cattle. Oh, there's them Africans. There's them Africans, you know? And I think, you know, again, speaking to traveling and my Instagram is Ja Universal, and the international experience I had, to be able to go and live in Rome and not see anybody that I knew was like me. I don't care if you were from Harlem. I'm sure you didn't have the same makeup, right? Because we're Americans. We know that we're all mixed, and there's no one that's just like you. But definitely no Black American girls at the time that I went. But I connected with the Eritreans because I went to the Ethiopian and the restaurant, and I loved it. And I was like, oh my God. So there's this Ethiopian restaurant I used to go to all the time. And one night after dinner, oh, this is good. This is answering your question, Cameron. After dinner, it's in Italy. There's a little space. This is what they do. They have a store. They sell some Ethiopian things. And then the waitresses come out in their beautiful white dresses and they dance. Have you ever seen Ethiopian dance?
I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to only do a little bit for you because this is really intense. But basically, it's a lot of rhythm all up in here. And they did that. And I'm in my chair like, oh. And they were like, and I got up and I started dancing with them. And they were like, lost their mind. You know, and I was like, oh my God. And that was it. They were like, sister. So I made friends with this group of women in the restaurant. And then I would go to the cultural center, would meet the Eritreans and the Ethiopians there. And that was, those kind of experiences I had all over the world were the clearest experience, proof of we all African and we're all connected. You didn't have a category to put me in. All I had to do was dance, and we're sisters.
Mm-hmm. And they just knew. They knew.
I'm not born in Ethiopia.
That's that spiritual connection right there.
Yeah. So I guess that I don't know if I can answer your question, but I do hope that we break out of that. That's why I speak of Pan-Africanism. I mean, my daughter's here, but my eldest is homeschooling her. And what do we do every day? It's, subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, Black history. Okay. And this week we had to do 3 days of Marcus Garvey this week because she was like, Pan-Africanism? Like, what is that? And to hear a 10-year-old be like, but of course I knew this. And I'm like, okay, but you understand it had to be a philosophy. She's like, yeah, but we're all African. I'm African. She's half Italian, but she'll tell me that she was waiting for me in Africa. And so it's so deep that the children are going to have a better understanding of something that we're just trying to recover, repair, and reclaim.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this has been a great conversation, Djassi.
It really has. I love talking to you guys.
Really enjoyed
Yay! Woo!
Next time we'll make some tea together.
Oh yeah.
I'm with that. Oh yeah.
I'll send you the ingredients. Make sure you find your local herb store. Try not use Amazon. Support locals.
Oh yeah.
We'll try.
So yeah, if you have any, if somebody wants to contact you, how can they reach you?
So my website is my name, full name, all lowercase, Djassi DaCosta Johnson. That's DJASSI. I'm named after Amir Kal Cabral, Abel Djassi. So DjassiDaCostaJohnson.com. My Instagram is DJA Universal. And my media Instagram is Filming the Moving Body.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So y'all check her out. Jeremy, got any last remarks?
I would just say, one, let's make sure we continue to eat seasonal. If you haven't started, now's a good time to start. Google it.
Yes.
You'll notice the difference in the food. It's really, it makes sense. I don't know why we've gotten away from it.
It tastes better.
Consumerism. But anywho, so let's make sure we're eating seasonally and really just make sure we're still eating real food. And it's harder than you think.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Real food for real people, okay.
Yeah.
That's it. What you got, Kale?
Do you have any is there any resources we can find out that you know off the back of your head to where we can know what's seasonal or not?
Google.
So there's Mr. Google is always really, really good. Yes. They're definitely Mr. Google's good. I was just gonna say one app that helped me as I was transitioning from being a vegetarian to introducing animal protein and then disintroducing it again, and just was Eat Right for Your Blood Type. And I do think it's important for everybody to recognize how specific we are, just even within families in terms of how we metabolize food differently and what we're craving. Because like you said, with coffee, a lot of times you'll crave a food because you just really want that food and it's calling to you. There's a vitamin that your body wants, and maybe that food is just going to make you feel even more sluggish instead of energized, So I don't off the top of my head have any specific resources, but in general, just like Jeremy was saying, eating seasonal, I think eating locally is really important, and supporting the people in your community or on your IG. Now we're all connecting so much more virtually. It's like, who's in my city who's a vegan? Even if you're not a vegan, you're going to find something really great there that's going to help your plant-based diet, or who's the local shellfish guy, or who's growing arugula in their backyard. I ate some arugula here. I've never seen it's this big. Blew my mind. I'm just sitting there just.
Man, that's a big piece of arugula.
Yeah.
Golly.
And I think, just to support what Jeremy was saying, definitely locally, seasonally. And I think one of the things at the base of everything I do, whether it's working with women as a doula or dancing or writing, And especially the healing work that I do with herbs for people, it's to help us get back to a sense of pleasure in our life. And food is, should be enjoyed aesthetically, spiritually, energetically, and in the taste buds, right? So that styrofoam container that your, McDonald's burger came in is gonna sit with you like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that would be nice.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start eating more seasonal and also looking for more herbs that I can use.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Say that again.
No, I knew you were gonna do that, Jeremy.
Huh?
Say that again. You gonna look for what?
More herbs.
More what?
Herbs.
Okay. All right. I heard it right. All right. That's it. I'm done.
Can I offer something in the herbal?
Herbal.
And I know you all can edit. You all are editing this based on whatever your audience is, I'm sure.
It's raw and uncut.
Okay, well then I'll just speak raw and uncut because that's how we are. 2021. So how I was talking about balance before we close with my reishi and my wine, right? The reishi chaga. So another thing that I share with people, because I do work with women and herbal yoni steams and things like that, but also teas, and we talked about that. So for people who partake in the cannabis herb, I think one thing I've been sharing with friends is to add in other herbs that help you as well. So mullein is a wonderful herb that you can add. You can add damiana, you can add mugwort, you can add red raspberry leaf. All of these herbs will not only bring a really wonderful lightness to whatever ganja smoking is happening, but it's also helping clear your lungs and counteract some of the things. So I just wanted to share that since we're talking about herbal healing, and I know that the world is opening its mind up to the healing power of cannabis and CBD and things like that. And know that we can also, help ourselves in all these old ways, that old elder, indigenous men smoking herb pipes. There were good herbs in there that help them. And that's something that I'm reclaiming as well.
So herbs all around.
Herbs all around, Jeremy.
Herbs all around. That's the name, buddy. Herbs all around.
Herbs all around. Well, all right then.
Herbs.
Djassi, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Cameron. Thank you for having me, Jeremy. It, again, was an absolute pleasure speaking with you both. Please email me and remind me about those recipes I have to send you.
Okay.
Because we need it.
And we'll catch y'all next time on the Culinary Trapping Soundbites podcast. Real food for real people. Peace.
Peace out. Yes, sir.